The Oguz Yabgu State, Oguz Il, meaning Oguz Land, Oguz Country, 750–1055, was a Turkic state, founded by Oguz Turks in 766, located geographically in an area between the coasts of the Caspian and Aral Seas. Oghuz tribes occupied a vast territory in Kazakhstan along the Irgiz, Yaik, Emba, and Uil rivers, the Aral Sea area, the Syr Darya Valley, the foothills of the Karatau Mountains in Tien-Shan, and the Chui River Valley. The Oghuz political association developed in the 9th and 10th centuries in the basin of the middle and lower course of the Syr Darya and adjoining the modern western Kazakhstan steppes. The etymology of the name Oghuz is unclear. It was discussed many times in historical and philological literature. The term probably means tribes, or the tribal union, and then could turn into a collective ethnic name. The original Oghuz areas were the southeastern regions of Central Asia. The beginning of the early Oghuz group formation is linked to the Western Zhetysu, often known, in Russian and other European languages, as Semirechye. History. Early history. The first reference of the Oghuz state is by the Arab geographer Yaqubi, who called Oghuzes kings. In Zhetysu the old Oghuz capital was Guziya. The Chinese sources that ascend to the 7th and 8th centuries state that the Oghuz Confederation Takas Oghuz, Chinese Gusu, Ut for Oghuz, is consistently shown in the vicinity of Issyk Kul, Talas 4. From the Issyk Kul area the center of the Oghuz Confederation shifted to the lower course of the Syr Darya under pressure of the refugees of the Sari Turgesh tribe. In 766, after Karluks overran the Turgesh Khaganate in Zhetysu, southeastern modern Kazakhstan, Karluk tribes formed a khanate centered there under the rule of a Yabgu, and they occupied and transferred their capital to Suyib. By that time the bulk of the Yuk Karluk, 3 Karluks, confederation had left the Altai, and the supremacy in Zhetysu passed to the Karluk tribes. After the Oghuz Confederation lost a struggle with the Karluks for leadership in the Turgesh Khaganate, a significant part of Zhetysu Oghuzes migrated to the Karatau Mountains foothills and the valley of the Chui River in the Issyk Kul basin. At the beginning of the 9th century the Oghuz Confederation, in alliance with Karluks and Kimaks, destroyed the Kangar Union and captured the lower course of the Syr Darya River and the Aral steppes, displacing the Kangars and Pechenegs. The nomadic tribes of the Syr Darya Kangars were forced to join the Oghuzes, and a part of them migrated to the west to the northern Black Sea region. The Oghuzes moved their capital to Yanjikent and became known as Oguz Yabgu State. The state was founded in Yaik, which was an Oguz Yala, summer village. Oguz Il extended from Issyk Kul and Al-Malik, in the south, to Sayram, in the west, to the city of Yanjikent, which stands at the mouth of the river Syr Darya, and to the Karakum desert. The capital of the Oguz Il was variously spelled Yaik, Yanjikent, Janikand, Yenikant, Yanikand, all meaning new city, and also in Arabic literature Al-Qariya al-Hadissa and in Persian literature De'ihe. Presently it is a Central Asian ghost town Jankant. The state was ruled by the leader of the Oguz Turks with the title Yabgu, which is similar to other Turkic ruling titles such as Khan and Kagan/Hakan, but initially with a status below Kagan/Hakan. The army was commanded by Suba. Su means army in Turkish and Bashi means the head of or the ruler of. Political history. The Oghuz state played an important role in the military and political history of Eurasia. In 965 the Oghuz state allied with Kievan Rus in a war against the Khazar Khaganate. In 985 the alliance with Kievan Rus defeated Volga Bulgaria, which increased the political power of the Oghuz state. At the turn of the 10th to 11th centuries, popular uprisings broke out against excessive taxation in the state. The revolts became especially strong in the second half of the 10th century, during the rule of Ali Yabgu. The split between the ruling Oghuzes and Seljuk branch of Oghuzes turned out to be detrimental to the state. The upheaval was used by the Seljuk branch, who led an uprising and took Yend, but soon they were forced to leave the Yend area. During the reign of the last Oguz Yabgu Shah Malik the state rebounded. In 1041 Shah Malik Yabgu conquered Khwarezm from the Ghaznavids, but 2 years later he was captured by the Seljuk forces and executed. Shah Malik Yabgu was the last ruler of the Oguz state. Internal turmoil and conflict with the Seljuks weakened the Oguz state. The weakened state fell under attacks by the Kipchak tribes from the Kimak Khaganate. Under the pressure of the Kipchuks, the two branches of the Oguz people split. A significant part of the Oghuzes went to Eastern Europe, and the Seljuk Oghuzes left toward Asia Minor. Another part of the Oghuzes fell under the rule of the Karahanids and Seljuk rulers of Khorasan. The remnants of those Oghuz defeated by the Kipchuks subsequently dissolved among the Turkic-speaking tribes of Dasht Kipchak. The Oghuz tribes contributed to the formation of many of today's Turkic peoples. In the 11th century, Oghuz migration to Persia and the Near East began. The movement was led by the head of the Konik tribe Togrul Bek and Chagri Bek, the grandchildren of Seljuk. This migrating group became, in time, the Seljuk Empire. In 1025 a part of the Seljuks settled in the territory of the modern Turkmenistan, centered on the city of Nisa. In 1034 to 1035, they were joined by Togrul Bek's subjects. In 1038 to 1040, the Seljuks fought against Ghaznavids and captured Nishapur. Subsequently, they were able to create a huge state, which consisted of Asia Minor, Persia, and parts of the Caucasus and Central Asia. The Oguz Il state existed for 3 centuries. Another Turkic group, Kipchuks and Kimyks of the Kimek Khaganate, ended the state by the 12th century. By that time, Selçuk Bey and his KNK tribe headed to Persia to found their own Muslim state, which in the future would become the Great Seljuk Empire, and a part of the state population moved eastward to the Pontic areas. The economic base of society was private ownership of livestock. Little is known about the old farming communities in the oases, river valleys, and wetlands. The cities continued to be populated by traders and artisans. The title of the elected ruler was Yabgu. The power was hereditary within a ruling clan. The heir to the throne was called Inal. They were brought up by an Atabek tutor. Elections of Yabgu were conducted at the tribal assemblies. The rulers were chosen by the Codex of Unwritten Rules of Customary Law, Tor, from the most powerful clans. The power of the supreme ruler was limited by the council of largest military tribal aristocracy. The wives of the rulers bore a title Khatun and played a significant role in the court life. Yabgu was assisted by regional rules titled Kulirkans. An important place was occupied by warlords. A head of the army was called Subashi, from Su, army, and Bash, head. The Subashi was supported by a military council, and actively interfered in political events. The Oghuz states was subdivided into Uruks and Imaks. The term Uruk designated tribal divisions, Imak was an administrative district. The clans and tribes united into larger tribal alliances were known as Il, country. By the end of the 10th century formed a formal administrative apparatus and a system of regular taxes. The main religion was the traditional Tengrism, and later Islam. Ethnic composition edit. The power base of the Oghuz state were semi-nomadic and nomadic tribes of Zhetysu and Siberia, Kalach, Uyghurs, Jagra, Karuk, Karluk, Imura, Bayandar, Kai, and the remaining tribes and sedentary population of the Kangar Union that submitted to the Oguz Yabgu. The Oghuz state was heterogeneous in ethnic terms. In urban and rural areas lived Turkic and Khwarezmian-speaking population. The reformation of the Oghuz ethnic community was a complex and lengthy process. According to the Mahmud Kashgari, 11th century, testimony, Oghuz Confederation consisted of 24 tribes, of which 12 tribes were Buzuks, Bazuk, and 12 tribes were Uchuks. The Buzuk wing had a privileged status. Later authors, notably Marvazi, describe only about 12 tribes. The discrepancy between the sources probably resulted from the Oghuz division into 2 exogamous parts, Buzuks and Uchuks belonging respectively to the right and the left wing of their army. Oghuz states share in the Uruk and Amags. The term Uruk designated tribal divisions. Clans and tribes, united into larger tribal alliances known as Il, the country.